Hello and welcome to the first in a series of 3 board webinars. Today I'm going to take you to some of the basic features of board which will help you with your analysis. I'm mainly going to show how you can use different selections and drill downs in order to get deeper into the data. This will be a nice way to get a first impression of board. If you've got any questions, I would like to ask you to save them until the end of the webinar or to send them to me by email. I will keep this webinar rather short of around 15 minutes in order not to take up too much of your time. My name is Sebastian Bell. I'm a consultant at Sonam International. Sonam is a global consultancy company specialized in budgeting, planning and forecasting. We can help with any phase of the project, whether it's the tool selection, designing of the model, the implementation or the support. We have consultants available with on average more than 7 years of experience. If you'd like to know more about Sonam's project experience or the people behind it, visit our website or feel free to send me an email. First, some background information on board. Board is a Swiss multinational with more than 20 years of experience. You have over 3,000 customers and more than 1,500 trained consultants. Board has been recognized as a tool that's years ahead of its competition, as well as being the best of breed regarding topics such as big data, performance and customer satisfaction. Recently, Board has also been named as a leader in the Gartner's Frontrunner Quadrant. This is especially meaningful because it's completely based on end-user ratings and reviews. While being a Swiss company from origin, Board is established all over the world. It has offices in 5 continents and over 15 different countries. This means that support is available around the clock. One of the key advantages of Board, which makes it so different from its competitors, is that it unifies BI and CPM completely in a single tool. You might have noticed that traditionally vendors offer a range of different tools, some separately developed and some acquired through acquisition, which they then have to knit together using adapters. Board, on the other hand, is a tool which is developed to do this in a single environment from the ground up. This means that all of your processes, such as sales planning, headcount planning and consolidation, are all housed in a single database. Today we'll mainly focus on the visualization, dashboarding and self-analytics side of Board. I'll touch up on the topic of ad hoc reporting. During the next webinar we will focus more on the actual budgeting, planning and forecasting and how we can enrich our data with business insights. For the final webinar, I'm going to show you Hello and welcome to the first in a series of 3 board webinars. Today I'm going to take you through some of the basic features which will help you with your analysis. I'm mainly going to show how we can use the different selections and the drill downs in order to get deeper into the data. This will be a nice introduction to Board and a nice way to get a first impression of the features Board has to offer. Hello and welcome to the first in a series of 3 Board webinars. Today I'm going to take you through some of the basic features of Board which will help you with your analysis. I'm mainly going to show how we can use different selections and drill downs in order to get deeper into the data. This will be a nice way to get a first impression of Board and the features it offers. If you've got any questions, I would like to ask you to save them until the end of the webinar or to send them to me by email. I will keep this webinar rather short, around 15 minutes, in order not to take up too much of your time and just give a basic introduction. My name is Sebastian Bell. I'm a consultant at Sonam International. Sonam is a global consultancy company specialized in budgeting, planning and forecasting. We can help with any phase of the project, whether it's the tool selection, the designing of the model, the implementation or support. We have consultants available with on average more than 7 years of experience. If you'd like to know more about Sonam's project experience or the people behind it, visit our website or feel free to send me an email. First, some background information on Board. Board is a Swiss multinational with more than 20 years of experience. You have over 3,000 customers and more than 1,500 trained consultants. Board has been recognized as a tool that's years ahead of its competition, as well as being the best of breed regarding topics such as big data, performance and customer satisfaction. Recently, Board has also been named as a leader in the Gartner's Frontrunner Quadrant, which is especially meaningful since it's completely based on end-user ratings and reviews. While being a Swiss company from origin, Board is established all over the world. It has offices in 5 continents and over 15 different countries. This means that support will be available around the clock. One of the key advantages of Board, which makes it so different from its competitors, is that it unifies BI and CPM completely in a single tool. You might have noticed that traditionally vendors offer a range of different tools, some separately developed and some acquired through acquisition, which you then have to knit together. Board, on the other hand, is a tool which is developed to work in a single environment from the ground up. This means that all of your processes, such as sales planning, headcount planning and consolidation, are all housed in a single database. Today we'll mainly focus on the visualization, dashboarding and self-analytics side of Board. I'll touch up on the topic of ad hoc reporting. During the next webinar we'll focus more on the actual budgeting, planning and forecasting and how we can enrich our data with business insights. For the final webinar I'll focus on reporting and not only how to make this easier but also more effective. Besides this, I'll show a nice feature in how we can distribute the reports based on certain conditions at the click of a button. Alright, so these were enough slides. Let's jump in the actual demo. Alright, so when we enter Board, we start on our main screen. Right now I'm on a laptop on the client version, but this could also be from the web or from any other kind of device supported by a Microsoft or Apple operating system. We're also able to take live Board data into any of the Microsoft Office applications, but I'll go deeper into this in my reporting webinar in 4 weeks. Just like all of the other screens during this webinar, it is built from the ground up and completely customizable. It all depends on your personal preferences and needs. In this case, I've decided to split our screen in the business intelligence and performance management sections with the carousel at the top, which allows us to scroll to the different screens we have. We can access our screens by simply clicking on it, but of course we can also use the buttons at the bottom of the screen. Alright, so let's access our main dashboard. So here we have our main dashboard. Just like all of the other screens, it's built from the ground up and completely customizable. Here we can see several different objects. I can quickly go over them. Here we have our traditional table made up of the rows and columns grid, in Board referred to as a data view. And we have two bubble charts. We have a stacked column bar chart, and at the top we have some dashboard dials. Now, everything you see here is interactive and can be linked from different data sources, which can come from within Board, but can also be linked from live data outside of Board. Of course, we can also make a combination of the two. At the top, we see some filters, which allows us to filter the data shown in the different objects. First, I'll go into how we can filter the data, and after that, we'll have a look on how we can actually drill deeper into the numbers and see how they are built up. So in this case, everything is linked, and we'll update on the fly. First, we have our quarters, then we have our product divisions, and finally, we have our sales channels. Now, if I make a selection on our quarters, all of the objects will update immediately. And the same goes if I select a product division. Now, the sales channels are slightly different, but work in the same way. Here we get a list in the pop-up screen. I choose to use this way because I don't want to use up too much space in the screen. But yeah, they work the same as all of the other filters. Of course, we can also show the complete list in the screen if this is what we would like. Now, let's remove these filters. Now, besides using the filters at the top of the screen, we can also filter using the different objects we have in our screen. Now, for example, our column chart, we can filter on tools simply by dragging a box over it. Once we do so, everything updates immediately again. Now, also, we have our data view here, our table, and we can select a region that's not performing as well. Let's, for example, say Northeast. We click on it, and we can update our selection using the data view. We can also easily remove it again by clicking the arrow button. Now, let's have a closer look at the data view. We can see here we have the actuals, the budget, and the variance percentage for all of the different regions we have. Now, we can also see we have some lights which give an indication of the sales value. In this case, it's a 2-point color scale, but we can also expand this to a 5-color one. For example, we can add a lighter green and an orange, but you can add as many as you like. based on the conditions as you would like to use, of course. Here we have our variance percentage, which is actually calculated on the go. We can also decide to save the answer back into a cube, which in its turn can be used again for other calculations. We can also set up security profiles for the end users, which will allow them to either see this data or not, and make it available for further analysis. If we hover over the regions, we can see a spark line. This is just a nice optional functionality which gives an idea how the numbers will develop over the year. Now, if we would like to go deeper into the data, we can do this by drilling down onto the numbers. I'll show you how we do this right now. We see the blue arrows, and when we click on them, a screen pops up with all of the related entities and dimensions. This can be any dimensionality that comes standard, but we also have the possibility to add custom ones. This can be useful if you would like to, for example, use a custom timeline. Board's flexibility allows everything to be easily customized according to your needs. Now, here, for example, we can select salesmen, and we can see which salesmen are servicing this region. Now, next to this, we can make further drills. Let's say product, and we can see which product this region is buying from which salesman. Now again, here we can sort on the columns. We have a variance percentage and even our indicators. This is not something we set up. Board is smart enough to take our initial layout and copy it to the drills we make. Alright, so besides being able to drill, we can also pull this data straight into Excel. This can be useful if we, for example, would like to share this information with a colleague that doesn't have access to Board. Now, when we go to Excel, we see we have the same data view, the same table, now here in Excel. Now, one of the strengths of Board comes when we connect within Excel to the Board database. You can see we have a tab here for Board, and we can connect using the same credentials we have for a model. Now here you see that some of the buttons have lit up. Now, for example, we can refresh the data in the sheet straight from the Board database. This overcomes a big issue that companies are often dealing with if the latest version is being used. Because the Excel updates straight from the database, we're always sure we're dealing with the latest data and everything's up to date. We can refresh the sheet, but we can also refresh the complete workbook with the different tabs we have. I'm going to explain more about this in our final webinar about reporting. Now, another nice functionality is the layout. Here we can add a calculation, we can change our variance percentage calculation as well. But we also see we have the Axis tab. Now, we're showing the data per month. Maybe in this case it's more convenient to show it per quarter. I can simply change this by dragging and dropping. I click OK, and the Excel updates immediately. Now if we disconnect, we're back to having a static file, and we can share it with any of our colleagues without them having to connect to Board themselves. Alright, so let's get back into Board. Now, I'd like to show you one more option when it comes to drilling down into the data view. First of all, Board remembers the drills we made. So now if we click again, it will automatically drill on the salesman, and then again on the products. Now we can reset this. We can either right click to change the single drill, or we can right click and then clear all of the existing drills. So we will start again from the bottom. Now if we do this, close it down, we can start with our entity, with our dimension box again. Now, for example, if we would drill to the customers, we can make another drill. We see that we always have this drill through function. Now, this drill to function allows us to access the data on the lowest level, which can be, for example, the transactional data. If we can click the drill through, I could show a local database we have, so we can access it without storing all this detailed information directly within board, which is not something we would necessarily like to do. But it's always convenient to be able to access it at any time. Now, just like using the data view, we can drill down on any of the objects. For example, we have our stacked column bar chart, and here we can make a drill on all of the related dimensions again. But even the dashboard dials we have here at the top we're able to drill through on. Now, besides drilling down into a dimension, we also have the ability to drill down to a certain screen. That means that if a cell is a certain value, we can decide that the drill either drills to this screen or another screen based on the threshold we've set up beforehand. Now, finally, let's look at the bubble chart we have here on the right. At the top, we see the percentage of sales by customer, and at the bottom, the sales by margin for the customers. We can see that each of these bubbles represents a single customer. Now, the Pareto curve up above, I found out that customers find it especially useful because you can really see where the sales are coming from and how the costs are made up of. Now, if we hover over one of the customers, we can see that they're part of the 90% of the total sales coming from all of the customers, including this one on the left side. And besides this, we can see that they're part of the 3% of the customers that are responsible for this percentage of the sales. Now, if we make a zoom on this chart, we can do so by using this tool, the rubber band tool. We can go into further detail. Now, let's go and select around 10 to 15. We make a selection, which will make all of the other screens update. And now, for example, if we look at our highest selling customer, we can see that this is Davies Healthcare with a number of 114,000. Now, if we compare this to the bottom chart we have, the top one with the most amount of sales should be Davies Healthcare, which is the case. But here we can also see that Davies Healthcare is a profit margin of 36%. So even though it's our highest selling customer, it's not the customer with the most margin. Our star customer in this case is CG Parfait & Sons with a 55% margin. Now we can select, for example, Davies Healthcare, make a selection, and start analyzing and see, okay, what are the costs made up of? We can drill down and say which products are responsible for this cost of sold goods. So, for example, we go here for products, but also we can see which salesman is selling to them. Oh, in this case, it's salesman is Mayor, and which products are they buying from him exactly. And then here again, we have our initial layout, which allows us to sort on our sales. We see our cost of sales, but also our margin percentage. And in this way, we can drill down and we can start to understand that why a certain customer is costing me more to service than another, and which changes we can make in our strategy in order to become more cost efficient, or to just adjust our strategy in order to service this customer better. Alright, with this I would like to conclude our webinar. I hope you got a good idea of some of the basic features. Of course, this is just an introduction and it's quite general. But if there are any challenges you're dealing with specifically, yeah, just shoot me an email and I'll show you how Board can deal with this. In 2 weeks we'll have another webinar which will discuss how we can enrich our data with business insights. And in 4 weeks I'm going to show you more about reporting. I would like to thank you for your time. I hope to see you again in 2 weeks. And until next time, thank you and bye-bye.